Hello everyone. So this is the Beep Fitness microservice which I'm going to talk about today. So if I go to this repository, so this is one of the recent projects I accomplished. There's a whole README over here, and this is the table of contents. You can directly jump at some section to read about. Our contributors are also welcome to get more details on this project. This is basically a microservice-based project, and this is about AI suggestion-based, activity tracker. So if you run or walk or cycle. There are only three activities for now, but I'll be adding more. And you can enter a few fields in the input, and it will send a request to the Gemini server, and Gemini will provide suggestions and recommendations. Your user activity, the user profile data is also saved in a database in a separate service. Also, there is an activity service which where your activity data is stored, how many kilocalories you burned, stuff like that. And the third service is basically where your recommendations are stored. All three services are separate from each other. I'll now show you how it works. So I have imported the backend over here in my IntelliJ, and this is the front end in my WebStorm. WebStorm and IntelliJ both are by JetBrains. I really like these IDEs. So this is my Docker desktop. I'll just start my RabbitMQ and Keycloak service. I'm using RabbitMQ as a queue where most of the tasks like recommendations will go in, and until Gemini responds to those with those recommendations to those requests, the queue will store the request, and then once once it has responded, it's like an async queue, so it will come back to the activity service with a response, and the user recommendations will be stored uh, in sync with the activity service data. So all three things have separate databases, as I mentioned. For user, there's a relational database, and for activity service and the recommendation service, there's a MongoDB database, which of course you can read about in the README. So um, now I know that my Keycloak might be up, so I'll just go to this URL. Okay, so now I will start my backend first. So the way it works is first I will start my Eureka for config server is the first one which I'll start, because all my microservices configs can be loaded via config server. Because if you see here under the resources, all my application YAML files for each microservice is stored here. Instead of keeping it in separate services and maintaining them separately, one can directly change this particular microservice instead of touching other services. Now I'll go to the Eureka server. I'll start the Eureka server now. Eureka server is the one helping all these services to communicate with each other without one depending on the other. To as you see, we prefer isolation more in system design. So I just wanted to try out, in a personal project, I had this urge to try these things. Now I will start my gateway. Gateway is the one public-facing entity. There one can directly communicate with each of these services without having separate ports for each of them. There's this port which I exposed, 8080 for each of the services. Otherwise, if you see the config server, each service has a separate port assigned in it. So internally, you will not know that that is the case, because uh, I don't want to expose multiple ports for each service. So therefore, I made only 8080 as publicly available port. So if I go here, 8888, sorry, not 8080, 8888 is the one. And if I go to user service, um, here it is registering with the Eureka with the gateway. So my services are registered with the gateway in this sense. I've explained it more carefully in the README file. Now, if you open the config server for activity service, you will see here, yeah, server.port 8082, right? And similarly for AI service also, we have 8083 as the server port. Now my three services have started. I'll just start the main three services now: user application, user service, and the activity service. Okay, this one. And now I'll start the AI service. So let's see. Okay, everything is looking good here. Why is user service giving an error? Mm, okay. I didn't start my relational database. So let me go to my Postgres and start it. Similarly, I'll start my MongoDB. Okay, MongoDB server, where are you? Okay, I started it. That was my bad. I didn't start my databases. Okay, so if I now start my user service, it should come up. Okay, and what about AI service is also up. Activity service is also up. Okay, cool. Now it's time to go to my front end and bring up my front end. So I'll just type in npm run dev over here. I'll go to this link. Okay, this is the home page of my fitness tracker. As you can see, this is very simple page. I will try to improve on it. I'll just go inside it, and this is authentication based on OR2 by Keycloak. So you can read more about it. I will paste some links. So okay, these are my previous. So this is the page which we get. So if you see my Keycloak over here, this is the admin dashboard of my Keycloak. So here is one of the user which I created for Keycloak authentication. And now if I come back here, um, let's say I just walked for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, let's say, and I burned like 1000 calories, kilocalories. I just add activity, and the activity is added here today. So these are previous dates, as you can see, and I just click on it. So I see my recommendation which I received from Gemini. I see the duration, calories, and pace. These are also generated by Gemini. The pace, I mean, these two we entered. Areas of improvement, suggestions, safety guidelines, all these are generated by Gemini from the recommendation service. So if you come back to the backend, you can actually check the AI service application. See here, it generated our data and sent it to the front end. Coming back to it, yeah, that's all I had for now. You can go to previous recommendations and see what did you do on some other day, and I'll be adding more features. For now, this is the thing. You can see your email, last name, username here, and I'll just log out now. Yeah, it's a pretty fast logout because it's running locally for now. I didn't deploy it. I'll do that also at some point of time. But keep an eye on this repository and help me build this product more faster if possible. Thank you so much for your time.